So today, guys, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what I think could possibly be a way that future Division games are made. And the more I watch gameplay, as you guys are seeing in the background from the day before, I really get a big feeling that maybe in the future, this right here is something that we see with the Division. Now, I'm not talking about the zombies that you guys are going to see in a little bit, but what I'm more talking about is the looting that you're doing is less about build combinations, but more about survivability and staying alive. And I feel if you could create something that was still tactical, still looter based, right? Where you're still looting for items, as you have seen in the day before, it does that, right? But say instead of builds, you're looting for supplies, you're looting for weapons, your weapon attachments, even maybe an armor chest piece, items that you would typically find maybe in the open world or in people's houses that you're looting, and use those items to help protect yourself, help survive in whatever the open world throws at you. And I really feel that instead of those build combinations that you constantly are grinding for, you're constantly looking for, which definitely make the Division a unique game, who knows, maybe in the future we see something more along the lines of what we saw with the day before. And I know a lot of Division fans were actually very impressed with what the day before showed. Now, obviously, a lot of them did say they would like to see more gameplay. They were unsure if it was real, if this game is still real. But the one thing we could all agree on was if they can put out something like this, this would actually be really impressive. And a lot of people are very excited about it. They're very excited about what this game and the possibilities of this game. And I really see that's where the Division, massive, Ubisoft can really capitalize and realize, you know what, we can actually maybe create a game, a Division game that is a sequel. But what if we don't do builds, right? What if we go away from the builds and we create something more along the lines of survival-based looter shooter? And the question probably that will come up is, will Division fans want to play something like that? Well, if you think about it, back in the day in Division 1, we had one of the most popular game modes that people still love today, survival. And it was more of a hardcore Division where, yes, builds were a small portion, but not a very big portion of that whole gameplay. As you're running through it, you're just throwing pieces together. You really don't have any combinations you're going for, and a lot of people really enjoyed it. And I think you could probably do the same thing in an open world setting, creating a very, very cool open world with just looting more weapons, looting gear, looting items, and as you're seeing here, looting parts that you need to craft to actually repair your vehicle. So creating more of an urgency of the items that you are looting for are necessary to survive in this massive open world. And I still think that would work really well. I think the Division fan base would really enjoy it. And it might actually improve balancing PvP. So say if you had a PvE portion and then you had a PvP, you no longer have to try to balance the two because you're trying to balance the builds themselves, right? All those talents. You're more balancing the weapons and how much damage they do and so on. And I think that could really, really work with the Division universe. Now, I want to know, would you play a Division game that wasn't built around talents themselves? Would you play a game that was more about surviving and the items that you got were really to survive in the game, and that was pretty much it, right? It was to either use those items to trade to get better items, or use those items to craft to create other items you may need to continue on surviving? Would that be something you would be interested in? And I guess that's what the developers at Massive Entertainment at Ubisoft would really have to ask the community. Now, I'm not saying every division after that would have to be a survival based type division. Maybe it could be Division 3 went this way. Maybe the next division after that went back to builds. I just think that as a whole, balancing the division because of talents really makes the PvP part struggle in most division games. And I feel if you went more of a survival-based looter shooter, it could really improve the PvP and still give you that really good gameplay from Division PvE. Now remember, this is just me throwing something out there, looking at other games and other games that have been really successful, and looking at the market that the division has, the player base that the division has. And a lot of the division players play Ghost Recon, right? Totally different types of games. One is actually a lot more tactical. This one's a little bit more build based. And I feel that that's where I get the whole idea that, you know what? Division fans probably wouldn't mind a really cool looter shooter that was less based on builds, but more based on surviving. But that is what I'm gonna leave this video at, and I want you guys to answer in the comments. What do you guys think? Would you guys be down for a Division sequel that wasn't based on builds and more on a looter shooter survival tape, the whole game being a survival based type where there was a PvE and a PvP portion? Because obviously I do want to have both in the game. So whether you only play PvE, well, you would have that. If you play PvP, you would have that. And that way people could really choose what they want to play. And I want to know, would you be down for something like that in a division game? Or would you like the division just to stick with the builds? And I honestly think either way is solid. I just think the more I watch gameplay from the day before, it just gives me a lot of division vibes, right? Even though this game plays like a lot of games that I played, from The Last of Us to Days Gone, it has a lot of those traits that make it unique. Even Escape from Tarkov with the inventory system, it does have something that is special about it. And I honestly think if the day before comes out with what they've shown us and it plays as well as what they've shown us, and this game does launch in June of next year, a huge amount of Division fans will be playing this. 100%, I can guarantee that a lot of Division fans would be playing this game, and that's the truth. But we'll see what happens. I gotta know though in the comments, do you guys think Division franchise could move away from the builds and go more with survivability and still be successful? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you guys in the next Division video. But until then, hey, nothing but skills is out.